Good morning. It's a great joy and a privilege to be with you this morning to share a Love, Live, Serve moment that speaks to stewardship and what home church is to me. Home church is my past. I was 5 when my family came here, and I remember being in line at a Sunday potluck or a Wednesday night fellowship soon after we got here, and I dropped a plate, which of course shattered on the floor. The woman behind me said, "Don't worry, I've done that before too." And I knew that I would be okay here. Thank you, Fran Heder, for calming this little girl's nerves. Home church is my past. It's where I learned about giving. In the 1980s, our church sponsored a family from Cambodia, and I watched as members took them food and clothing, drove them to appointments, helped them adjust to life in the United States, and more. I saw home church join together to build its first, Habitat house, and I met the family who received it. I benefited from your generosity as a youth who asked for help often for service projects, mission trips, weeks at Laurel Ridge, and more. Many wonderful memories and lessons learned at home, capital H, have blurred together, but what lasts is how safe I felt here, how loved I felt by Sunday school teachers, vacation Bible school volunteers, youth group leaders, and by so many of you, and how happy I was to be a part of this congregation. Which brings me to today and how happy I am that home church is my present. It's where I watch the people I grew up with here raising their own children in the life of this church. It's where I look forward every year to a retreat that brings me together with women of all ages who teach me, listen to me, enjoy a sunset and a glass of wine with me, and who inspire me. Home church is where I continue to feel safe, even as we discuss difficult and sometimes painful topics, or experience anxiety about the world around us, or even our congregation's future. It's also where I continue to learn about giving. Generosity comes so naturally here, from boxes for Sunnyside overflowing with food, to adopting college students, to a pastor coming to the hospital for a prayer before an early morning surgery, to writing fan mail from home, to sponsoring families in Albania. The list could go on and on. And speaking of on and on, home church is my future as we vision and discern where God is calling us to make a difference and how we can ensure that this congregation will go on and on for generations to come. Is this scary? A little. Is it exciting? Tremendously. Do we have answers to all of the questions? Of course not. What we do know is that because of God, this is our home, our past, our present, and our future, and anything is possible. I'd like to end with a note on stewardship, as we know that it's at the heart of our church's past, present, and future, and at the heart of who we are as children of God. One of my favorite quotes on prayer comes from the great author and lay theologian C.S. Lewis. He wrote, "I pray because I can't help myself. I pray because I'm helpless. I pray because the need flows out of me all the time, waking and sleeping. It doesn't change God. It changes me." I think the same holds true for giving. We were created in God's image to be a generous people. We give because we can't help ourselves. We give a portion of our income not because it changes God, but because it changes us. We need to give because it reminds us that our money and our stuff are not who we are. And we give because home church has given and continues to give us so much. Home church is a part of me. Home church is a part of you. Together we have a heartfelt connection with the life and ministry of this church and with each other. And we live in a time when the world so desperately needs all we have to give. So it is my prayer that we will give with glad, grateful, and generous hearts, just as God does. I pray over the coming weeks and months as we reflect on what home is to us and how we respond, that we will experience God's never-ending grace, His abundant mercy, and His boundless love through this congregation and through Jesus Christ our Lord.